Oh my God! I'd like to begin by saying hello, ESFI. All your stuff is amazing. I still remember in games. No, it wasn't Gamescom. It was what's the Hanover one? Cebit. I saw you when you were in your early days. 2011. You guys have become fucking amazing. I see you all the time. And now you have your own mic protector. So wow, getting upscale and shit. I'm ready. I'm leaning forward. I'm gonna make it difficult to frame. Huh, that's a really interesting question. All right, I'm ready.
Ready? All right. This is Joseph Brewer for ESFI, and I'm sitting here with Sean, Day 9 Plott in Austin, Texas for Lone Star Clash 2. Sean, how are you doing, man?
I am doing great. And of course, I need to ask, is it one of these microphones where you have to like eat it, or is it one of these standard ones? Standard ones? See, because you're holding it kind of here. I just, I just want to make sure it sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
You're important to me.
Thank you very much. You're important to me as well. Let's start off with the first question, though. How did you first get involved with TeSPA and the Rosen Brothers?
Well, way back when the Rosens did Lone Star Clash 1, we were like, oh my God, these guys are amazing. I'd actually met them in MLG Dallas 2010. They just were there at the tournament and were like, hey, here's a TeSPA shirt. And I wore the TeSPA shirt, which is adorable. It's a little probe mining minerals. And Lone Star Clash was just amazing. And I'm trying to think of how we started interacting with them leading up to that. I mean, they just started helping us on some projects, and then they interned with us over the summer and were just instrumental in like every way to Day 9 TV. They helped a ton with the Red Bull LAN Seattle that took place at the Penny Arcade Expo, and I just love the Rosens to pieces. So yeah, and then when they said they're doing Lone Star Clash, I was like, I'll do it no matter what. I don't care if I have to sleep here at the venue and I don't eat. I just the Rosens are important people. I love them, and too, the TeSPA guys were amazing as well at the Red Bull Battlegrounds in Austin. Oh, that's what it was, Red Bull Battlegrounds in Austin. Right. Got the chance to work with the Rosens and a lot of the people from TeSPA, and they're just all chipper and chirpy and passionate and enthusiastic, and they do great shit. Yes.
What did you think about the first Lone Star Clash, and what things do you think you and the others here for Lone Star Clash 2 can do to make it better for Lone Star Clash 2?
Well, let's not give me any credit for if this thing succeeds, right? I'm the commentator. I'm just that guy at this one. Hi, Wei Tao, who's taking photos. Wei Tao is also one of the many awesome people putting this on. In my eyes, the biggest thing. What was your question?
Well, it's just how do you think that you and this is all volunteers here as well?
Yes, yeah.
Make it better for Lone Star Clash 2 than the first one.
I think that the biggest thing. Let's see here, would be more clarity. First of all, expansion of just what you want to do. Like the fact that there's a League of Legends and a StarCraft 2, that increase in ambition is always one. But probably the biggest thing to improve is one of those things that's kind of hard to see on the front end, which is just the clarity of vision and organization. Because the fact is there's no template. There's no manual. There's no lead to follow in. I mean, if you're a small organization, you look at an MLG and, I mean, what is there to learn? You can put on an amazing thing if you can do great logistics. MLG does great logistics. There's no trick, right? There's no video to look at in how-to sense. So being able to expand in that sense and say, all right, if we have 100 volunteers, how do we give them appropriate tasks so that we accomplish what we want so people don't get in the way of each other? How do we dish that out? Like the organizational difficulty of putting on an event is astounding. So I definitely think that is the biggest hurdle to overcome. And having shown up here like 4 days after they started setting up, it looks great. So in my eyes, leadership is probably the biggest thing going forward that I hope others get inspired, because these events are really like the lifeblood of the expansion of esports. Is just communities going, oh, I want to do that. How do you do that? And then you look to the TeSPA folk as an inspiration.
Well, as far as growth, how big do you see the growth of lower tournaments like this and others getting to next year and the year after that? And will it be harder or easier for people to, start their own local lands, get tournaments like Lone Star Clash itself and getting it bigger? Do you think it'd be easier or harder down the road?
I think that there's a number of things that are becoming easier and a number that are getting harder. So StarCraft viewership has been, for the most part, just growing since StarCraft 2 was released, but there are so many tournaments that now it's being subdivided more and more. It used to be that if you decided to make a tournament, whether it was a community one or a an enormous professional tournament organization that does that exclusively. No matter what you were, you knew you had a monopoly on all the viewers for that weekend. So you would just get huge numbers. But now, I mean, in November, it goes MLG Dallas, Lone Star Clash, BWC, that's the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series Finals, then DreamHack Winter, then IPL in Vegas. And NASL is running that whole week. And you have tons of ESL, IEM Cups running through there. Oh, IEM Poland is also taking place. Is it Poland? Singapore?
Singapore.
Maybe, yeah, thank you. IEM Singapore. Poland? That's where Carmack's from. There's so much. There's so much there that it's kind of hard to go, oh, as an organization, can I get 50,000 people to tune in? Probably not. But you don't need 50,000 people anymore because money is coming in much more freely. It's very easy to get sponsorships in the low thousands from companies because it is a very, very good investment. You're guaranteed to get a considerable number of viewers per dollar that are certainly going to be very very engaged. They're the right demographic. So the hurdle in my eyes is less what the esports space is doing and more just the sort of mental space of people who want to create it. Because again, you don't get a job in esports, you make a job. You create for yourselves something. Here, TeSPA created the Lone Star Clash out of nothing, and it's succeeding, and they're just winging it. They're wading through. Everyone's making it all up as we go, right? Yeah. So the idea of getting a high schooler or a college age student to wrap their head around the idea of, yeah, I can actually do whatever I want, and it is okay to call up a company and ask for a large 5-figure sum of money for a sponsorship. Like, why don't more people do it? There's nothing wrong with just calling and trying. Why not? So if people see more tournaments like the Rosens, I think they're going to be good. Yeah, I'm giving really long answers. I'm pumped. I'm going to barbecue later. You're going to get maximum talking out of me.
Love it. Yeah. I feel like there's a handful of StarCraft 2 players this weekend that could take this tournament. Who do you think, or who would you have to put your money on to win this whole thing?
Now there's something where I'm going to start getting real terse, right? Like it's amazingly stacked, like shockingly stacked of a tournament. I hope NaNiwa does very, very well. That is my wish. I really love watching his play for 2 reasons. One, it's just total beast mode. It's just it's terrifyingly good. But also, his play has always made sense to me. I can always watch it and appreciate its brilliance, but also take something away from it and go, cool, I can incorporate that into my play. With a lot of players like Liquid Hero, for instance, I love watching his play, but it's hard for me to wrap my head around it in a lot of circumstances. I'll see him make some crazy decisions, pull it off with micro, and I'm sort of left being like, I guess the only conclusion I can make is that he's better than I am, right? But with NaNiwa, it's really cool to see that brilliance and that sort of analytic through line to his play that makes it a real treat. So all that said, Violet is certainly a strong contender to take it as well.
What about League of Legends? Which of the 4 teams do you think will win? And have you been keeping up with the League of Legends scene at all?
I'm actually really bad at keeping up with other games as of late. And I'm blanking on the teams. No, CLG EU.
Curse, Orbit, and Fear, which used to be
That's right. Orbit and Fear were the 2 I'm forgetting. I actually have absolutely no way to evaluate in any objective fashion who the players or the player skill level because I just am so ignorant about the game. Right? I don't play it. I've watched it like a lot more than. Actually, okay, I was going to say I've watched a lot more than I've played, but having played none, that's not a fair assessment. But CLG is always a name that pops up. Curse kind of had the troublesome result at the last MLG, but I think it would be nice for Curse to get the opportunity to take a win because, again, knowing nothing about the objective skill of the players, from a subjective community perspective, there was a lot of controversy around the disqualification at the MLG Raleigh. But I believe in the idea of redemption, that everyone makes a blunder, and at the end of the day, it's important to get the opportunity to demonstrate your skill.
Nice. Well, being outside of that bubble, like you just said, of League of Legends, what do you think, looking outside of it, about its growth and how it's getting these big numbers, huge tournaments, all this money. What do you think about League of Legends so far as of its growth?
I think it's great. I mean, honestly, I know that there's that tendency in forums for people to want to like take a side of this tournament or the other, but they're very differently structured. Like with League of Legends, there actually are not that many tournaments. I mean, this is me speaking from just like sort of looking at what's going on in the space, but there's not nearly the level of tournaments that there are in a StarCraft, where there's, if you go on Team Liquid, there's 10 running right now. Like there's tons of tournaments constantly happening. But with League of Legends, there's these like huge, it's very spiky. It's like 250,000 viewers, nothing for a long time. Like 180,000. So in my eyes, I think it's really cool because it doesn't hurt me if League of Legends does well. It helps me. It helps the whole esports space. Now, all of a sudden, with articles being written about 30 million players playing League of Legends, with millions of dollars being dumped into the space, now if any organization goes to a sponsor and says, hey, we're going to be doing an esports event, it now means something. You don't have to pitch all of esports again and note that it is going on and what it is and then convince them to buy into the numbers. It's a lot more wrap your head aroundable. Just the same way that if I came up to you and said, hey, I run a minor league or a little league for baseball. It's really popular and I want you to sponsor it. And they go like, oh, I don't play baseball. I don't really know much about the strategy, but I totally get that kids play it, that it's a fun, healthy activity. So yeah. And plus at the end of the day, with League of Legends, a lot of people say Riot Games and they view it as like a logo or a brand, but if you go to the office, it's just a bunch of awesome dudes who like making games. And it's being really successful, and now they're going, oh, let me just dump a bunch of money into making a cool thing happen for a game that I was really happy to make. And I think that's a really cool step. They could have just taken that money and put it in their pockets, but they did this, so cool.
We saw your brother TeSPA doing a little bit of League of Legends casting. Would you ever be interested in doing something like that down the road, or will we be seeing any League of Legends dailies coming out of you in the next year or so?
I mean, because like I've never even played MOBA games. I mean, I've played like 3 games of Dota 1 and Warcraft 3, so I don't know if I actually have anything valuable to contribute in that regard. And I almost think it's a little disrespectful for me to come and be like, guys, let me teach you how to play League of Legends. This is my 3rd game. Actually, now that I've said it out loud, I need to do that. I think that would be great.
Best idea.
But I don't know. I don't really have any concrete plans for it because the fact of the matter is I'm just having a lot of fun with StarCraft, and I've actually been getting a little more into Magic the Gathering, so I might be doing some more video content with that later. But I don't know. Sure, why not? I mean, right now I'm kind of booked until the end of the year, and it's November 9th right now for any of you curious. So yeah, I kind of pack it in tight.
Well, what are your thoughts on the state of StarCraft, I guess, right now and its future later on down the road after these 2 months, and then we have a break? We don't know when Heart of Swarm is coming out. We know it's going to be sometime in the first half of next year. So what are your thoughts on Heart of Swarm coming out and all that good stuff for StarCraft 2?
What I think, there's been like an interesting series of steps. I mean, first it was like grassroots, and then it was major tournament organizations starting to step in. And then it was developers starting to step in. And now we're hitting just oversaturation just across the board. So I think that in the future what will happen is some consolidation, reorganization, maybe a hierarchy where there's tiers of tournaments, and everyone sort of gets a sense of what that means. Similar to, say, baseball or something like that, where they're like, this is a little league, this is a high school league, this is a minor league, this is a major league. As I say those, I'll be honest, I don't watch a lot of baseball. I could not name 5 baseball players who are strong, and yet still I sort of understand what those structures mean. I think that StarCraft is heading in that direction because the viewership is super solid. It's super distributed, so no one organization is having like mind-blowing, like volcanic numbers just exploding. But overall, the interest is huge. So I'm hoping that organization does happen because I mean you just get tired. I don't mean like tired of watching. I mean you just get physically, you need to go to bed, you need to sleep because all you've been doing is watching StarCraft. You need those breaks. And I hope that Heart of the Swarm will just be another fresh little spice thrown in there. because one thing that I do think the StarCraft community lacks is, I guess the StarCraft esports space lacks, is that rejuvenation with new maps. There's been kind of a stagnation there, and if there was some sort of presentation of new maps along the way, in these 6 months, these are the maps that will be there. There's even island maps. Why hasn't there been island maps? Why hasn't there been a map where there's a bridge that lowers, and for 2 minutes, no one can cross the bridge, and then it pulls back up and units can cross? No one's experimented with that. What about having a map where everyone starts with gold minerals and thinking about how to rebalance that? There's so much space in StarCraft 2 because the editor, hell, the editor is a game engine in itself. It's not just a map maker. With this incredible engine, where's the experimentation? And I think that Heart of the Swarm will be a nice opportunity to sort of where there's going to be new maps, but more importantly, those new units that'll give it that fresh feel. And then I hope it will inspire people to make new maps. Make new maps.
How are things going at Day 9 TV? How's that going? Plans for the future? Any announcements you want to make?
Let's see. Are there any announcements I want to make? Well, the After Hours Gaming League has a huge number of teams. I don't know if we can, if it's been announced. What am I? Someone I work with, I think, was planning like a big special announcement on that. So I want to steal his thunder and be like, "Hi, here it is. Sorry, Eric." I don't know. I did the finger down there in case it wasn't on camera. I don't want to do that to him, but there's way more teams than in season 2, so I'm really excited about that because as much as I love people sacrificing everything to push themselves to the limit and achieve levels of play we've never seen, I still just like playing StarCraft 2 just because I like playing it. And I like that the After Hours Gaming League emphasizes that. So Season 3 is going to be, registration's been going on for the last few months. It's all getting organized. So that's going to be kick-ass. Is there anything else cool happening? Well, in the near future, I'll be here and then at BWC. I'm doing some casting with Iron Squid. There's some other events coming up, but I will leave it to them to announce. And hopefully I can do some cool stuff with Magic because I really like playing a game where I feel kind of confused and I'm trying to like swim my way through the logic.
Nice. Well, thank you very much, Sean, for the interview.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Would you want to give any final words to your fans, anybody out there?
I remember I was having a bad day, and several of you kind folks came up to me and were very, 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 very nice without me even asking, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for being so nice. You're sweethearts. Have a great day. You're very pretty. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it.